What is going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Today we're finally going to be getting a look at the PC port for Atomic Heart, which has been in development for quite some time by Mundfish and sort of heralded as a Russian type of Bioshock-inspired type of game, and I'm definitely getting those vibes in the first couple of hours. But we're going to jump into the graphics and customization options here on PC, talk about the overall port quality, which so far has been phenomenal, excellent, and no shader issues, stuttering, anything like that, like we've seen in pretty much all recent games. So mostly good news here with Atomic Heart. It's not perfect, but we've got mostly good news, so let's get into it. But first, today's video is brought to you by SuperCDK.com, where you could save money on games for all of your favorite platforms, as well as software like Windows 10 Pro licenses for just $22, and then you can unlock the prestigious Dark Mode for Windows 10, which I honestly could not live without. It is blinding without the dark mode. You guys need it in your life. And now you can also save an additional 25% off at checkout by clicking Buy Now on any software products over there. Just go ahead and add it into your cart and put in my code JP25 at checkout and apply, and that'll bring our price from $22.44 all the way down to $16.83, a savings of over $5. And I'll walk you through how to get your key and install it on Windows 10. Go ahead and click Submit Order and complete your checkout from there. For me, that's going to be with PayPal, and then click on Pay Now. After completing the checkout, it'll bring you to your purchased order page, and it will update in a matter of seconds, or just go ahead and hit F5. Go ahead and do that one time. It came through literally immediately. I got the payment email that it had gone through and the delivery of the product exactly at the same time. Once you're done with that, go ahead and click on View Keys and Codes, and we'll get our code right here that we can go ahead and copy and paste in on Windows 10 by hitting the Start button and type in the word Activate. When you see that activation settings or see if Windows is activated, go ahead and click on that, and it'll bring up this right here, and click on Change Your Product Key or Unlock Windows 10. As I already have Windows 10, I obviously don't need to put in a new key, but just paste it in and then go ahead and click Next, and you are all done and set. For more information on SuperCDK.com as well as the coupon code, be sure to check out the links down in the description below. Now, first things first, when you do boot up this game for the first time, it is going to compile shaders, and it took a few minutes for me on a 9900K along with an NVMe SSD, but depending on your processor, maybe your hard drive, this could potentially take a little bit longer or even a little bit quicker than what it took me, but it was a few minutes. It certainly wasn't as quick as Returnal was recently, but it also wasn't like insanely long either, like some titles like Modern Warfare and other games that can take like 5-10 minutes to compile shaders. It was a reasonable amount of time, and it does seem to help out, as I didn't see any shader compilation stutters or even traversal stutters in this game. There was only a couple of very minor sequences where it was like literally in a cutscene, and you could tell it was just loading into the next area, and that was it. It was like a brief little hitch, and it was during a scripted event, not during a gameplay event. So as far as I can tell, no shader compilation or traversal stutters with Atomic Heart, which we gotta give them a round of applause, folks. Everyone stand up. Give him a round of applause. And yeah, well done, Mundfish, for making a game that doesn't stutter like a fucking bitch in 2023. So far, running very well for me. So let's get into the options menu and talk about what's in there and what isn't in there. So as you can see here, I'm playing at 4K. We've got a couple of options in here, VSync on or off. I was playing with it off, and they also have an FPS cap, which you can set to as high as 300 or as low as 30 if you want to. I had mine completely uncapped, though, with screen resolution at 4K here, so you got your high refresh, ultra-wide support, all that good stuff. For our quality settings, we do have a few different presets in here. We've got low, medium, high, ultra, and atomic, which is basically what I was playing on. Although I do have a couple of things turned off for my playing, depth of field and motion blur mainly, completely disabled. Motion blur I always turn off in any game, but for first-person shooters, I also like to turn off depth of field. I just don't really feel like it works in first-person titles for me. For anti-aliasing, there's only one kind here, and it is temporal anti-aliasing. You can either turn it off completely, run it at medium, or at high. We also do have DLSS in here, so if you want to run it on any of the different DLSS presets, you can. Although for me, I didn't need it, and I was playing at native resolution with no frame generation, baby, because this game actually got rid of all of its ray tracing. You heard right. They were heralding this title as like the biggest ray tracing game of all time, and now here we are at launch, and it's got no ray tracing. I don't know about you, but I think they need to work on their marketing a little bit, because I think a lot of people were expecting ray tracing here at launch, and it got pulled out from under us like a rug. We've also got NVIDIA Reflex support and FSR for AMD users, so if you're not using an NVIDIA DLSS card, at least you can use FSR if you do need the extra uplift in performance. But I think this card game is going to run on a wide variety of hardware. The rest of the options we have down here, everything maxed out for me. We've got animation quality, shadows, ambient occlusion, visual effects, number of objects, materials, volumetric fog, post-processing, textures, anisotropy, which goes as high as 8, oddly. Maybe it's like a multiplier. Usually this is like 16x in most games when it has an anisotropic filtering option, but that's as high as it goes. And here's 8. 3D model quality, vegetation quality. You can turn a shader cache on or off, and the hard drive speed, which seems to be automatic. It automatically set mine to SSD, even though on an NVMe drive, so I guess that's as high as that goes there. Unfortunately, no option in here to adjust the type of audio device that you are using, but there is a streamer mode, and you can change the language and various different audio options in here to get it tuned to your liking. One thing worth noting is that there is no FOV slider in a first-person shooter. To me, that's a big no-no. The developers defended this by saying it has a fairly wider FOV than most games, and I would agree with them. The FOV was fine for me, but it might not be fine for everyone. And you got a bunch of customization options here for controls, controller, key rebindings, all of that stuff, but no FOV slider. So I found that to be a bit disappointing. And you can use flawless widescreen. People have said that you can go ahead and use that if you want to mod in a different FOV, but honestly, they should have known better. They've done a pretty good job here with the PC port. As it is, I just really wish they had added in an FOV slider into the game. Whether or not they think we need it or not, we do need it, because not everyone has the same preference for FOV. Some people like it really narrow, some people like it right in the middle, kind of where this game is, and some people like it really wide. And who am I to say who's right or wrong? Give people the option. It's PC, but hey, that's where flawless widescreen comes in. That's why PC is great. The developers don't want to give it to us. Fuck them. We'll mod it in. Now, speaking to the performance, as I mentioned at the start of the video, so far I have been pleased as punch, generally getting over 100 frames per second all the time, maxed out on the RTX 4090 at 4K, which, you know, great card, all that stuff, but it's rare that even with a 4090 where I come across a game where there's not any shader stutters or traversal stutters and just random hitches here or there going through the game world. Like, no, Mundfish has done an excellent job with the PC version, which may be the primary platform. I believe this is only on PC and Xbox, if I'm mistaken. It's available on Game Pass, so you can play it for free if you have Game Pass on PC. You can go ahead and play Atomic Heart. That's what leads me to believe maybe this isn't even on PlayStation, which I don't know. I could be right about, could be wrong about. Google it. Not my job. Actually, it is my job, but I'm not going to do it anyway because I'm already in the middle of recording this video and I didn't know I was going to bring it up. But there it is. But performance aside, whether PC was the lead platform or not, they did an excellent job with the PC version. It's running great. It's not super duper demanding. Like, yes, it can be for, you know, higher resolutions and stuff, but for the most part, like I said, I'm getting like 100, 140 frames per second. So I'm not even needing to tap into DLSS. So I can imagine if you're on something like, let's say, a 2060 and, you know, you're trying to play at 1440p, I would imagine that card would be able to handle this game with maybe slightly lowered settings, or if you just whack on like DLSS, even with a quality setting. Based off the performance that I'm seeing here, you can pretty much tell that the solid performance here is going to scale down. It's not particularly CPU intensive. I don't think I saw it go over like 9 gigs of VRAM being allocated, but it was only using like 6 or 7 for the most part. So no complaints here for me as far as the performance is concerned. Really just wish they had the FOV option available for PC gamers, and I really wish the ray tracing was here. I kind of need to rant on that a little bit. I just saw the story yesterday. I mean, I know it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. It doesn't really change your enjoyment of the gameplay, but for a game that was marketed, I feel like, so heavily by like the developers and NVIDIA GeForce as being like this big ray tracing title, it's got frame generation, which I assume with ray tracing probably would have needed to use it. but there's so much extra performance headroom here playing the game, and it runs so smooth that I'm just like, man, I really wish this had ray tracing, especially since you're going against like robots all the time. So lots of metal surfaces, lots of reflective surfaces on the floors, walls, all the different objects in the world. I felt like the global illumination for the NVIDIA RTX global illumination and reflections and all that stuff really would have shined here in Atomic Heart, so I'm a little disappointed that it's not there. Hopefully we get it shortly after launch. I'm not really too sure what exactly was the reason behind pulling it so late, like right before launch. Like I've never seen that happen before, but there must have been significant issues either for one side or the other, or maybe even on console and they didn't want PC to get it, but consoles not get it, or vice versa. So it's obvious that there was some big issues that they discovered late right before release of this game. As my phone's going off as I forgot to mute it. Sorry about that. But yeah, something happened with the ray tracing and they ended up pulling it from the game at the last minute, and I do wish it was in there. That's a little bit disappointing. But overall, like I said, the port quality, 10 out of 10. Cannot say anything really bad about it. If you're into BioShock, if you're into this art style and the way the game looks, first-person shooter / melee game with a quirky sense of humor, it's definitely interesting, and it's got robots with tits, and that's a 10 out of 10 in my book. So I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and let me know down in the comments below if you've been going to pick up Atomic Heart or if you've been playing it. It's available now on Steam for $60, or if you got the Microsoft Game Pass on PC, no extra charge. You can just go ahead and install it right now and start playing it, which I wish I knew before I spent $60 on it. So now I'm going to go refund it and then reinstall it on Microsoft because it's actually a pretty good game. Enjoying it so far. So I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys have a fantastic one. Peace.